Hello, everyone. It was pointed out to me that I did a tier list for all of the new Armada molds and then all of the new Cybertron molds, but I never did one for Energon in between, and that's really not fair of me. So we're going to do a tier list of every mold for Energon. Now, for the sake of brevity, because there's already a lot of toys on this list, we're not doing any repaints or remolds. Not the Energon ones, not the Armada ones. We are sticking to brand new molds and first releases for this line. And because we've got like 46 toys to get through and I don't want this to take an hour, I'm going to try to make a lot of this short and sweet. There's going to be a lot that I post without real explanation. I'm only going to stop to talk about the ones that I really want to talk about. So we're going to start off with Alpha Quintason, which is a plastic addict victim. I don't think he's the worst of the line, but he's not great. I don't think he does enough to make up for the fact that he doesn't transform, and I could do with some better accuracy that it was in the show. In particular, there's a face missing, so he goes low, and we might send him lower. All right, Strong Arm. Strong Arm, pretty solid little figure for the Omnicons. Really fun little toy. I like the Energon Axe gimmick. There's actually a lot of play value in that one. I'm more inclined to put him toward the premium scale of things right now. We'll see how far that goes. It's in my head, I'm trying to figure out who goes into Holy Grail already, and I kind of admit it might be a little bit thin. Okay. So you'll forgive me if I forget the combiner names. I'm going to try my best, but they were so unmemorable because they weren't characters at all. It's kind of hard for me to keep track. I'm going with Tread Shot on this one, and most of the combiners are just really mid. They don't really do anything special of their own. They just kind of stand in purpose, and they don't really have because they're dedicated to the combining. They don't really play the way the other Energon toys do. So they're probably going to all end up in the middle somewhere. Battle Ravage. It's a pretty simple figure. Fine for what it is. I like the advancement of Ravage to get a robot mode, to be a little bit more of a capable combatant. It's interesting, but not terribly exciting. So, somewhere in the middle. What's his name? Sky Shadow? I want to say Sky Shadow. Again, mid-level. I don't like him quite as much as Tread Shot's mold. We'll go with it for now. Sky Blast, who almost was Skyfire, and it is based on the original Skyfire. Again, he's okay. I like his Energon combining gimmick. His lack of articulation kind of sets him back, but he's not bad. He's going in the middle range. Need some more up there at the premium, don't I? Need some more up there at the premium. We'll get there. We'll get there. All right. Sledge. I think Sledge probably handles the combining limb existence a little bit better than the others. I still don't think he's like that high up. I'm not like none of those figures were too impressive to me, but I do like him enough that I'd say he's probably the best of the limbs. All right, Towline. I did a whole video on Towline. I actually really like his play pattern. It's a throwback to old school Ironhide and Ratchet with the weapon, the combat sled thing. But it also works with a power link gimmick. Both sides do in a unique way. There's a lot to like on that toy. Actually, really like Towline. Wish they'd do him again. Inferno. All right, so of all of the Deluxe Power Core, listen to me. Of all the Deluxe Power Links figures, I think this one is one that came out the best. It's a nice solid vehicle. It's an even enough and torso mode and leg mode, and still keeps some articulation as a torso, and doesn't really suffer that much for it. Honestly, I'm inclined to put him up to Holy Grail. I'd say the same thing of his remold too. They're both really solid deluxes. So how do you take Armada Hotshot and make him worse? Well, you hang a third of his vehicle mode off his back, you strip him of any usable good articulation, and you make him a giant brick in his combined modes. And then you have an even worse Hotshot. I hate this figure. I hate this figure. It has a nice looking vehicle mode, a torso mode that's a brick but looks okay, and then everything else is just garbage. Everything else is a garbage fire on this toy. No, never liked it. Never liked it, never going to. Dust Storm. Oh boy. Dust Storm's just boring. Dust Storm is just boring. He doesn't do anything. He's very, very basic in his function and his look. The stupid little, like, the stupid little UFO grabber arm claw thing is like the worst combiner hand foot that the Energon combiners had. Blech. No. See. Stormjet. Stormjet's okay. He's super hollow, which is like really weird. The torso mode's pretty good, but it's kind of an awkward robot mode as a result. I'm gonna put he's going up here somewhere. I think he handled himself okay. Not great, but okay. Actually, I think I'd bump Ravage just above him. I think Ravage is a little bit more solid for me. Scorponok's divisive. I mean, it's hard to judge it because it is a sufferer of something similar to gold plastic. It's actually just an engineering flaw that looks the same. The toy itself is, it's got its flaws. In particular, the shoulder articulation is really weird, but it looks cool. It looks like a really hefty, I think, figure. I like the jet mode. I like the scorpion like construction, kind of weird mixed mode. It's a strange aesthetic that kind of works for me. I'm inclined to put him pretty high. Not Holy Grail level, because like we said, he's got some issues, but I think he goes up there somewhere. Steam Hammer is, again, just kind of dull on his own. As a figure himself, the vehicle mode is super awkward. And like, I've owned this toy twice, and I never feel like I have his vehicle mode solid. It always feels like there's something that's supposed to peg in that doesn't. It always feels like he's like about to like fall apart when I mess with him. I wouldn't say bargain bin bat. Well, so I'm gonna put him top of bargain bin for now. Like he's like just like if I'm saying like I don't know. There's just something about him that just does not work as like a complete figure on his own. If I judge him just as his own figure, he's lacking. Oh, what is it? Barricade? I want to say this was the first Barricade we had. But yeah, this one, like the Combaticon Deluxe, I actually really like just as an independent figure. It's nice and solid looking. Yes, it's got a big backpack. Consequence of being a combiner, but I think it works well, and I think the vehicle mode really works. So, like the only flaw to these is they had no weapon accessories because all that engineering and all that budget went into the combination. But it's definitely among the best ones that did it. I can't put them. I don't want to put him premium just yet. Let's see who else ends up there before I call him this way. See, Kicker and Highwire. It's a unique set. It's a like human character, which we never get in a Transformer toy line. Makes no sense scale-wise, I'll tell you that. Upside, it's far more durable than the Microman Kicker that came out. And the Highwire is interesting. It's the largest Minicon toy we ever got. So it makes it stand out quite a bit, and it still technically, if you think about it, works with the power linking gimmick. Again, you know what? Honestly, like I feel like this one does go premium, if only because it's so different for the line. It's a 2-toy package that actually does work together really well, and yeah, the Highwire figure is just like a really big version of the Minicon. Like it's not really doing anything wrong in that sense. So I'm gonna put it high up for now. For uniqueness. Dive Bomb, definitely goes in the premium price. Actually, no, let's think about this, because Dive Bomb has a super clean transformation. I love the weapon gimmicks that work off the arms and then could combine into this big lightning bolt blade. And this look of it's super cool. You know what? I'm putting him up to Holy Grail. Respect to Dive Bomb. Wish the black version had come out. Well, dark blue version. I wish it had come out in America. All right. Signal Flare's, again, Signal Flare's just middle ground. He's okay. His repaint's terrible. I hate the look of Offshoot, but this one's fine. This one's fine. It's your old school, like, Godzilla-style Maser cannon. It's not terribly great, but it's not doing anything terribly wrong either. So, again, and it doesn't use its weapons as well as strong arm, so I can't put him up there. The Perceptor team has its... It's strange. Like, it feels like the vehicles are more substantial because they're not trying to be things that Earth kids could ride anymore, but it feels like the engineering on them is way more simple and not in a good way. It feels like they're phoned in, kind of. Grindor especially, was really like unimpressed by. And I feel like, despite the fact that they should be more solid, that the combined mode is actually worse than the Armada one. I'm not sure how they pull that off, but they do. Like, it never impressed by that set. All right, Cruel Lock. That was. Grimlock is a cool-looking figure in both modes, but it doesn't really inspire anything as far as being a Transformer goes. He looks cool. The sword weapon he comes with is really cool-looking, but the toy itself is just super simplistic to transform. He basically is wearing his dinosaur skin off his back. Yeah, where does he fall? I'm going to put him there. I'm going to put it there because Battle Ravage is more solid, but he's cooler than Signal Flare. I think that works. All right. Snowcat, again, is a mold. I know a lot of people like the Snowcat mold, but I just don't. It just doesn't feel like it's solid enough in vehicle mode. There's way too much. Well, I'm trying not to judge the translucent plastic content on these, but he does use a lot of it. And it comes down to things like his skis not pegging in the leg bow, so they just kind of flop around if the hinges get too loose. I'm going to do him a justice because I know people like him. I'm going to put him up in retail, but I'm going to put him low. Yeah, even if we're thinking about it, yeah, I'm moving here. How about this? I'm moving. Stormjet is slowly moving down the list. It's joined all the other aerial bots. I didn't even try to do that. Okay, so they'll tell you how I feel about them. All right, Radomus. First attempt to make a new Radomus toy and try to circumvent the fact he can't be a prime, but he's there and he is like a leader level Autobot. It's a decent enough toy. I like the remodel and redesign of Radomus. The proportions on it are super weird. Super big legs, kind of tiny torso, and really oddball articulation, especially in the arms. He has a decent enough torso mode. Works better as legs. I can put him up here somewhere. I can put him up relatively high in retail release, but he's not that great to me. Prowl, on the other hand, I remember a lot of people not liking Prowl back in the day, but I'll tell you this, Prowl's a much better figure all the way around. The vehicle mode is super cool looking, especially the black repaint they did in the 2-pack. That one was really cool. The proportions, yes, are weird. I would call them unique, not exactly weird. His articulation is really good in all 3 modes that he can articulate in. The leg mode, he's the most articulated legs by far. Decent articulation in the arm, in the torso mode, and in the individual robot mode. Guess what? I'm putting him up Holy Grail. Respect to that Prowl toy. That's a really solid figure. No one will back me on that, but it's true. Landmine. All right. Getting into the Ultra class now. He's okay. He's got some issues. Like, look-wise, he's great. Vehicle mode-wise, he's great. I like that his extra armor bits can actually form something in the vehicle and actually look good in both of those modes. I do not like a lot of his articulation problems because every version of that toy I've owned has hips that are not centered properly. Like, they're always like off from each other's angles. It's always been a little bit hard for me to pose and manipulate the figure. I can't put them in retail. I can't put them up in premium. I'll put them at top of retail right now because of the functionality. But that's about it. All right, Insecticon. Brick of a figure, but he's such a charming little brick. Tiny little, like, hard, like, really thick robot mode, short, stocky guy, and then, like, really nice beetle mode. I really, really like Insecticon. Again, another one where I wish the repaint made it to America. Never did. But yeah, super fun little guy. And his Energon weapon, this like spinning drill minigun thing. Great. All right. We've talked about Energon Optimus before. I put him as a plastic addict victim, so you know he's not going to go too high. That's based on just how lacking it felt like the toy was. The the main robot mode, the transformation is very, very bland. The look of the toy is not great. The trailer doesn't really do anything. The drones are a neat little play pattern. I would say this would be a far better Prime if he had alternate drones he could switch to, or if the drones could match color so they're more consistent. I will say that in that one I was probably too harsh on him, but I'm not going to put him any higher than like low retail level. Low retail level. I mean, granted, the toy does a lot more than, say, Sky Blast there, but I find Sky Blast does what he's supposed to do better than what Prime does. For a $7 figure, I think Sky Blast does exactly what he's supposed to. For a $40 figure in that Optimus Prime, I feel like it should be doing a lot more. So there, or doing it better. So there you go. All right, RC. First time we got an RC toy. And not a bad one either. Puts a lot of bulk in that massive bow of hers. And it's a fine little figure. It's a fine little figure. I don't think it goes premium. Not quite. I can put it high-end retail. And in that sense, I do think it pulled off its efforts better than Radomus did. So I'll put him there. All right, Megatron. Now, I said no remolds, and that does include the upscaling of the Voyager from the Japanese line to a leader in the American line. We're kind of just going to judge it all under one big blanket, and it's a fantastic toy. Articulation's decent for the time, really heavy, really bulky, really solid figure. Love the design work on it, and yes, the Galvatron repainted leader is one of the most beautiful repaints I've ever seen. I'm not judging it based on the repaint ability. I'm not basing it simply on the repaint here, but on the quality of the toy itself. Yeah, I would put it up Holy Grail. Like, again, like, whereas Prime is supposed to have a whole bunch of little features that don't feel like they're doing what they really could do, Megatron is just supposed to be the biggest, most solid, chunky figure they could make him, and in that sense, he succeeds. So I see his $40 more than I see Optimus Prime's $40. If you're starting to follow my logic, please repeat it back to me, because even I don't believe it sometimes. All right, Omega Supreme. Here we go again with value for money and what you expect out of a $50 toy now at the time. I always found this toy super simple. Like, it's really cool to see how big the vehicles are. It's good to see the variety in it. One of the vehicles is literally just half the robot with its arm just like dangled over like this, trying to be a crane. Yeah, again, I don't think it's doing that much for what it does. Yeah, somewhere around in there, somewhere right in the middle of everything. Again, for a $50 figure, it feels like it should be way better than it is. It's not. It's, hey, think of this. Unicron came the year before, and Unicron was amazing. Fully featured, fully articulated, didn't hold anything back. Primus came out a year later. Great figure. Tons of features. Didn't hold anything back. This one feels like something's off. This one feels like it didn't try very hard. By comparison. All right. Demolishor. Again, it's kind of an okay figure. It's doing a lot. Like, a lot of it is built in that backpack of missiles, which is okay enough for a gimmick. It's not the most in-depth transformer, but hey, it does exist. Sharkticon is going to be divisive because I know people don't like the color schemes, or it's a little bit garish of a color scheme. It uses half the vehicle as a backpack, so there is that. I think this toy's got some charm to it. I like the sharp lines of it. I really like the overall transformation. I love the vehicle mode. I'm going to put it premium, but I'm going to put it low premium just to kind of balance that out a little bit. I feel like it's a great toy. I have a lot of fun with that toy. I own that toy like 6 times, and I don't regret that. All right. Wheeljack, again, he's middle ground. He doesn't really do a whole lot terribly interesting. His modes are okay. Yeah, he's primed to just like smack dab right in the middle of everything. Ironhide's another divisive one. A lot of people don't like this toy because of the giant speaker box, but I don't mind that so much. I think putting all the gimmick and electronic that high up on the toy allows the rest of the robot to actually function a lot smoother. So I put him much higher than most people do. I feel like he's actually a pretty worthy toy. Great articulation for the time. I'll give it that. And really solid. Like rock hard toy. Jetfire, on the other hand, I do feel like suffers a little bit because of his engineering. And they made his electronics his center mass. So everything is kind of built around that. And when you do that, it does feel like the toy suffers. He does feel a little jankier than Ironhide to me, and I've never liked that toy as much as I did Ironhide. I'm gonna put him somewhere around here. I think I like Wheeljack. I call him Wheeljack because it looks like Wheeljack. All right, you caught me. Did you catch me? Did I go to the comments to correct me? It's downshift. Okay, so I caught myself. All right, calm down. Slugslinger's another one that's divisive. Yeah, the toy doesn't hold together that well. I have to dock at points for that. I don't mind the look of the toy. People tell me that toy is too difficult to transform. I would disagree. I love how sleek it is in the vehicle mode. I don't think it gets enough credit for the fact that there's literally no underkibble to that toy at a time when you always expected underkibble on the jet transformers. So I give it massive credit for that. Again, I can't put it too high because, like, he is just... I wish he held together better. You know, I just wish he was a little bit smoother. So that does harm him. Mirage. People love the look of this toy. I hate how much kibble is on this toy. The big fins off his arms, the giant boat shells off his hips, big backpack. I feel like he is like very much a shell former in that he has so much junk that just hangs off of him in the robot mode. His robot mode is super cool looking. Yes, it does. And yes, you could say it kind of goes into his like samurai motif. And that's the Bonsaitron repaint we eventually got. I'm not terribly fond of the toy. I'm just not terribly fond of the toy. It looks cool. It looks cool, but I need it to function cool too. How about there? Bulkhead. Oh boy. I really do not like Bulkhead. I feel like he should have been a $20 toy, and I would have been fine with it, but they bumped him up to a $30 toy by cramming in his big electronic arm thing backpack, which is the wrong color, the wrong aesthetic, and doesn't look good on the helicopter mode, doesn't really look like it belongs in his robot mode either. Him and Quick Strike, it looks better on Quick Strike because of the colors, but still, it's a terrible look, and it's a terrible addition. It's not like it's a perfectly smooth combination the way it is on Landmine. Bulkheads just always look terrible to me. Wait a year. You'll get a much better helicopter transformer. All right. Wingsaber, we also talked about. He is extraordinarily limited in what he can do. His best function is when he can combine with Optimus Prime, and in that, he's meant to be an upgrade of Optimus Prime that functions as an independent figure. So I have to account for that. In that, yeah, he does really well. The look is super, super cool. I even like this bulky bulky stealth bomber he's supposed to turn into. I think given the limitations they were saddled with, I think he came out really, really nice. And yes, it doesn't hurt that he's based on Star Saber. I'm going to put him up. He is a plastic act victim because I acknowledge that he is extraordinarily limited in what he can do. And he makes no aerodynamic sense. That said, cool is cool. Sorry. Cliff Jumper, again, I don't really have anything to say. He's middle ground, middle of the road. Nothing really bad. I'm actually going to bump Wingsaber up. So we acknowledge that Cliff Jumper is just nothing really too special. Grimlock immediately goes into the flea market bin. We've talked about this before. It's a pretty poor and cheap excuse for a Grimlock, and the combined mode is absolutely horrible. Shock Blast. I hate the giant arm that throws off the balance. I hate the alt modes that don't look like he transformed. He looks like he's in yoga poses. Because, like, literally every single stitch of his robot mode is still visible in both of his modes. He's not transforming into anything. If we talk about Six Shot, his garish repaint, oh, then we've got a topic. I really do not like that toy. Wingsaber gets by a little bit on how he looks, but he also functions the way he's supposed to function, whereas Shock Blast feels like they really just phoned him in. Like, he's supposed to look like Shockwave, and that is it. We're not going to try any harder than that. Starscream. So this was such a unique aesthetic. The ghost aesthetic, like parts of him being translucent, like the see-through parts of his wings, the Energon damage you can see painted on. He's such a cool and unique figure. Absolutely love it. That said, okay, yes, translucent plastic, yada, yada, yada. Okay, fine. The repaint was way better, and the repaint diminished the use of translucent plastic, so I can't really argue that one. But yeah, the toy is fantastic. Yes, it borrows engineering from a G2 smoke jumper, or G2 smoke screen who became smoke jumper. This one is definitely going very high on the list, especially if you account for the G1 repaint. Kickback, the last of the well, no, we still have one to go. Kickback for a tank relies a lot on shell hanging off his back. That puts him pretty low on my list here. Yeah, I'm never really thrilled with him. The tank mode's okay. But like, he's just does not feel. I don't know. Like, there's just something unsubstantial to him. I feel like a tank should lead to a bulky robot, not this like scrawny thing with panels hanging off and like wings. All right, the Deluxe Optimus Prime, the power linking one, super weird one. Individually, yeah, it's got the same problems as Optimus Prime, like the leader class one, because it's like super simple in transformation and design. This one just feels like they're just kind of clowning. It just kind of feels like they're goofing around. And because like they show a leg mode, and the leg mode has these big torso halves hanging off the sides of the hips. It's just ridiculous looking. The torso mode's slightly better. It's a laugh. The figure itself is a laugh. I'm gonna put it there. I'm gonna put it somewhere low on the retail release. It's not great on its own, but it's just amusing as a toy. Let's see. Cloudburst. I want to say Cloudburst. Sorry, Cloudburst, Stormcloud. It's a cloud name. Yeah, he's okay. I'd say he's somewhat better than a lot of them. He's actually pretty competent as just like a little helicopter figure. You can put him a little bit higher. I think I like Sledge better, but we're gonna put him like right there. Yeah, he's fine. He's fine. Actually, I put Ravage a little bit higher. And then we come to the last one, which is Swoop. And really, like, I feel like Swoop was held down by Grimlock. Like, whereas the Grimlock looks like a play school toy, a little bit of extra paint would have made that Swoop look beautiful. And yeah, he's a really solid figure on his own, separated entirely from the combining gimmick of Mega Dinobot. Yeah, he's really, really good. It's just a really, really good figure if you stand him by himself. We look over these. I will be fair. I will put Energon Optimus a little bit higher up. Because he does do a lot. How about here? We'll put him higher in the retail scale. Alright. Because I still don't like that Jetfire. Yeah, so this is not a surprising outcome to me. Like I said, I feel like Energon is just kind of a very average toy line. There's not a whole lot of it that stands out to me. It pretty much lives and dies on how much you love that Power Links gimmick, which I will admit, the more of those Autobots you buy, the more all your previous Autobots have in play value. That's a good marketing scheme. And it does mean a large collection gives you a lot to do. It's a fun gimmick if you don't mind the fact that you're building bricks. But that said, it's a growing phase. It's them trying to work in old gimmicks and characters, but also trying to evolve the play pattern from Armada with a consistent gimmick all the way through that is still trying to go harder into the collector-oriented stuff like articulation and, past throwbacks like Radomus and downshift that is actually Wheeljack, etc. So it's a growth spurt is what it is. It's going to be super awkward, but you can see where they're going, and it has potential from there, and we see that in Cybertron. But Energon itself, I definitely feel like is just kind of like mid-ground all the way through. But that's just my opinion. This is entirely subjective, so I have no idea what you would think, but you're free to let me know in the comments below if I got everything wrong. I'm sure a lot will think, I know for a fact Kicker and Highwire in Premium is going to be way too high for some people, but I genuinely think that is a really unique set. So, let me know in the comments below what you thought, and thank you for watching yet another one of these little rants of mine. I hope you're around for the next one. Guys, I am facing the most powerful enemy any YouTuber can face, the algorithm, and I need your help to defeat him. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment. Every time you do, we attack that algorithm and we drive it back until it can no longer defeat this channel. Thank you very much.